If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Folks, back on the Bossman show, going to Dayton, Ohio. The Dayton Flyers talk to their coach back home, Coach Trevor Andrews. Trevor, how you doing, man? Did you have the show for the first time, man?
Yeah, awesome. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. I must ask you, man, how's it feel to be back at your alma mater, place where you've won that? Dayton is you, and you're a Dayton man. And how's it been, man, seeing people you used to see back when you was there, when you played there, man?
Oh, it's been great. The support's been overwhelming from the community, our alumni base. The reconnecting with people you haven't seen in a long time has been awesome. And it's hard to walk across the parking lot or the grocery store without running into somebody that you're reconnecting with. So that part's been awesome. And just the feeling of community that I had as a student athlete here, and how well the university has run from the top down. I've always felt like everybody's pulling in the same direction here. And it was great to be back and experience that as a coach, as opposed to a student athlete. So that's been awesome.
Now, for you, how much has it changed since you were a player there to now? How much has Dayton Flyers changed in your opinion?
The school itself, obviously, that they've gone through some transition with upgrades to facilities and buildings and things like that. When I was a player here, our weight room was very below average. Now we've got a great weight room. The academic buildings on campus are great. They've done some things with some facilities. They've expanded campus. It's a little bigger now. They moved across the street, but it's still got that, home connected feel to it. It's, you're in a bigger city. There's 800,000 people in the Dayton area now, in the metropolitan area, which that's grown since I went here. But when you come to campus, it still feels like its own community. They did some good upgrades facility wise. UD Arena is second to none. I feel like when I go there, I'm going to an NBA game. When I go to watch a basketball game, they had the first four there last week. It was awesome. And then we've got new practice fields football wise. So a lot of those things have upgraded. The football office used to be tiny. Now we've expanded that a little bit. So we're doing some things like that. The support here has been great.
And Trevor, let me ask you this, man, because I know I played in FCS football, so I know how it is for always having whether split money, scholarships, that kind of thing. But you are in the Pioneer Football League, was kind of a grant and aid thing. So if you could explain that to the listeners here who not well versed the way I am and you are about how that works, being grant and aid.
It's an interesting deal. It's FCS football kind of has different levels to it, and there's the fully funded 63 scholarships. FBS, there's 85 scholarships. So FCS, there's 63, but then there's leagues that don't have 63 scholarships. And it's kind of between D2 and FCS. And then the Pioneer League and the Ivy League are non-scholarship. The Patriot League used to be non-scholarship. They moved up to going scholarship now. So we're kind of like a little bit of a unicorn, I say, because it's a need-based financial aid model, but you've got the Division I backing behind it. So you go through the process with these recruits, and now I'm back to using FAFSAs to see what the federal government says their family can afford to pay for school, and then there's a whole process, and our league goes through. It's very thorough. But then we offer the package to them, but it's what any student would get to go here, and that's kind of what it is. But it's a little bit of a niche, and I didn't my first year recruiting like that in a long time. Wasn't really sure how it was going to go, but we got in here and we signed a massive recruiting class. I got hired on December 1st and met our team. Then they took their finals and rolled out for 3 weeks. So I wasn't around them, but I was able to hire a staff, get them in place, get them ready to recruit. We went through all the recruiting stuff, but we end up signing a recruiting class that usually you spend a year plus on in 2 months. And I'm excited with the results, but you always say you'll never know. I'll tell you in 2 years how our recruiting class is,
No doubt. You never really know until you get them on the field. And it's good to get them on the field. How has spring practice been going for you guys? I know a lot of teams are getting going now. How has that been for you guys? Acclimate to your culture, how you do things, get them on the field, and kind of get a feel for what you have already before summertime comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, culture is a big thing for any Division I or any college program or high school program. That feeds the whole thing. And this is kind of a unique deal because I was the first person to interview for the head coaching job here since 1977.
Wow.
Okay. Put that in your mind for a second. It's always been, all right, Rick Carter was the head coach. He moved on. Mike Kelly took over. Mike Kelly coached through 2007. His defensive coordinator, Rick Chamberlain, took over. And then Coach Chamberlain retired. Coach Chamberlain went to school here, stayed as a GA, became a position coach, became a coordinator, became a head coach, and then retired. He was here 50 straight years, never left. So I'm taking over a program that's been in awesome hands since 1977. And the culture has been built since the 80s, and that's, I was a part of that. I want to continue a lot of the things that we've done. And it's always been a great senior leadership and player-led program. So for me, that was, all right, that's a big piece that while you still have to focus on it, there's an unbelievable foundation. And then, so now I can focus on, all right, what are our players, and as you come in as a head coach for the first time with a lot of new staff members, right, you want to make sure that you give everybody a fair evaluation. And I love doing that in the spring anyway, getting reps to a lot of guys. Let's see what they can do. You're not just getting your ones and twos ready to play a game anymore. Let's see what our young guys can do. I always felt like spring football is when the young guys you can really start coaching some of those guys that maybe are redshirted or maybe that didn't see the field too much. And the growth really, really can take place in spring ball. You got a day in between practices, so you can watch the film, you can meet on it with them. You can really take the mental approach to it in those off days from the field while you're still doing your lifts. And I just feel like you're able to grow. So getting those guys out there. I think we're practice. We have 6 down, so we're coming up on the halfway mark here for our spring ball practice sessions. Our spring game will be on the April 2nd, so that'll be on Sunday, and then just between now and then, it's like these first 4 days or first 6 practices, we really, hey, let's get it's all new language for them. We're putting in new offense, new defense, new special teams. So I always tell everybody, it's like learning a foreign language.
You got that right.
The same word, I always use, some guys use spill as a defensive player or box, but somebody else may call it pry and cage. It's just a translation. So you're going through the translation of everything, but getting them acclimated to that, getting them acclimated to how we want them to practice, because it's a total different style now of how we're doing it. So the guys on our team have been awesome. That they want to be coached, which is great, right? They want to be coached. They want to work hard. They've got a whole new set of coaches they need to impress. So everything's going good now, and the support from the administration has been great. I keep telling them, now listen, guys, we haven't played a football game yet. We just got to win some football games too, or it's going away now. So, but yeah, it's been great.
Nah, you're right about that language. I know, even I played in college at Tennessee State.
Yeah.
We had a new coordinator. It used to be 22 was 2-man. He came, the new guy came, it was blue, was 2-man. So there was a different language. We used to hearing something the whole time. Oh, 22 is 2-man. No, blue is 2-man now, not 22 anymore.
Exactly. And then multiply that by 50, right? Or 100, because it's all those different words. So that's crazy. And so you're basically a foreign language teacher for the first few weeks. And then they think like you did, right? They're thinking, all right, blue means 22. Now, and so you're translating your head. You've got to eliminate the thinking, right? If you think, you stink. Because if you're thinking when everything's going a million miles an hour, you're going to struggle. So we've got to get the thinking part out of it. So that's why we're fortunate to have these spring practices, and now that we're able to do some walkthroughs with some different things now that we didn't used to be able to do, that's been great.
No doubt. And you know what? Coach Antonelli says, man, Mike Rose knows this, but my dad was a coach too. He's 83 years old. My dad still jots down plays. I watched a game with my father, XFL. Is that what's that, son? Dad, I know it's inside zone. You gotta ask me. I know. He still quizzes me. So my question to you is, what makes you want to become a coach? I know for me, I saw my father. I was like, nah, I kind of want to be around the radio side of things. But what got you want to be a coach?
Yeah, no, my dad was a coach, high school coach, right? And so, Mike and I were together. We were young coaches, and we thought we knew everything, back in the Randolph-Macon days. Then you find out pretty shortly there's a lot of guys that know a lot more ball than you do. My dad was a coach. My brother's a high school coach in our hometown, and so I grew up around it. I've missed 2 practices probably since I was 8 years old, and that was because I had children being born. So I've been around it. I actually thought I was going to go into broadcasting. When I graduated from high school, I was going to be you, and Dan Patrick went to Dayton, so there was that, and so he was the biggest name on SportsCenter at the time, and so I was here probably about a semester, and I just got around the coaches here, and I was like, wow, I could be like these guys. Like, they're really elite coaches, and there's elite coaches on every level from high school to the NFL. There's really good coaches and find their niche. I was fortunate to be in a program that had the most stability. It was here back then. It was here in Penn State and William and Mary, another place I was at, right, where they had long time sitting head coaches. My favorite part about the recruiting process became not when you recruit a kid, not when they play for you, but it's 5 years after they play for you, when they come back and bring their families. And that culture is still there that they played in. I love that about it. And this is a place where I can do that, and I've always valued that. When I was 23 years old, I didn't even think about that stuff. But as I stayed at William & Mary for a long time, I got to figure that out. And I learned from some great guys, great head coaches over the years. And there's Dayton's a place where you can still do that in this era of NIL and transfer portal. I can still do the job like it was originally intended. And I use the word all the time. It's really refreshing.
You got there right, Coach Andrews. I see on like for my dad's birthday, my Father's Day for my father, all his old players call and text him. He's always going to an event or a wedding. He was 83 years old, and they're not move around fast as he used to. But I'm saying to see his players, even in his advanced age, his impact he had on them was profound. I'm his only biological child as me. But he got so many other players who reach out to him all the time who are older than me right now.
Exactly. And I get that. So I get the same thing from my dad's players. He coached at one place for a long time, our high school where I went, where my brother's now the head coach. So I've got a lineage back there since the school started, in the late 60s. And so I've got that side of things. And then I've got the William and Mary side of things where I was there 18 years. And then I've got my UD community where I'm, back at Dayton. And so I've got a ton of that going on. I know exactly what you're talking about.
No doubt. And for me, Trevor, I love how the game has gotten more wide open. I feel like for me, when I came out in 08, the slot receiver or the smaller safety that I've kind of played with receiver and safety, it wasn't in vogue like it is now. Because you had to cover the nickel now and have a guy who's in the slot who's fast. So yeah. I missed that boat. I feel like I was a little bit younger. I could have had a bigger chance in the NFL where they're getting cut in training camp because I feel like they're having a shorter receiver who could move in the shifty play against man or zone when the option routes. I could did it very well. But hey, it was before my time, before Wes Welker and Amendola, those guys made it popular now.
Dude, and I run into this all the time. I run into linebackers, right? You used to have a big, stiff linebacker that played tackle to tackle downhill and was a dude, right? And there's not a place for that guy anymore. That guy is now a defensive end, if anything, right? There's guys that got scholarships, Big Ten, SEC scholarships back then that were that dude. And now there's not a place for him in that position. It's totally changed. Your corners are safeties, your safeties are nickels or linebackers. You look at the size of some of the NFL linebackers, there's still some big ones, but Shaquille Leonard is, he's not 220, is he? And he's playing inside linebacker in the league. Speed is the name of the game. There's no doubt about it. Speed, hips, fluidity, you got to have it because those offenses, man, they cheat now. They cheat. They dink and dunk and get guys in space, and they're smart for doing it. And then they always turn and look at the sideline and get in the bet. They got the chalk last all the time. It's crazy.
Yes, indeed. At Tennessee State, we ran 11 personnel. I was the slot guy, so we had one back one tight end. So we was doing that in 04 to 08. When I played there, we was 11 personnel the whole time. So it's like, so for me, it's like, it was kind of ahead of the game with Coach Parker. We played 11 personnel the whole time. Sometimes we went 4 wide, playing 10, So it was like so I had fun there when we would do dummy motion to see if you were man zone to declare. That was fun to me. And my father hated it. He's old school. He wants to have 2 backs, pro set, strong, weak. And Dad, he hates it, but I said, this is where it's going. And I think I was right about it back then when I told him it was going this way.
Yeah. As much points as those early spread teams, the run and gun, they were putting points up and it evolves. It comes back to things. I'm starting to see 2-back stuff again. And basically they're getting to 2-back with the second tight end and they just move them off the ball and do all the same plays. Defense is caught up to it. So now the defense has got smaller and faster. So now the offense, let's put another tight end in. Let's get bigger.
12 personnel on you now.
They're going 12 and they're running power. They're running counter.
13 even.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because these tight ends can be receivers now.
That's the beauty, right? If you got those hybrid tight ends, what are you calling on defense? It limits what you can do. You got 2 tight ends. They might be in a 12 personnel set running power and counter, or they could be in a 10 personnel set dinking and dunking with a jet motion, with the same group. Peyton Manning made a living off of it, right? So, Dallas Clark, who knows, those guys are highly sought after, those big tight ends that can do it all at every level from high school to the NFL.
And we have Pitts here in Atlanta now, and Jonnu Smith is traded down here. So we got 2 with the Falcons here who we just get into their personnel and play off of that because Okay, we split you out wide. Now we're in 10. What you gonna do there? You just slow linebackers on the field now. Like you said, it's just a matchup there for these hybrids who can run. Like
it's like basketball, right? Get your matchups, and you can see it in the scores of the games. Like teams, it's about matchups. Like you don't match up well with a team, you're gonna get exposed, and you see it. You see it every week with some scores that catch you. Man, I thought that was going to be closer when you look at the records, right? It wasn't a good matchup, and you got to show up every week. You got to be ready to play, or you're going to get blasted. This is college football. We take it seriously.
You got that right. And you know what? What's fun about football for me, Trevor, it's just the ultimate team sport, man. And for me, football taught me about people, man, because playing football, man, I learned about different backgrounds, different cultures, man. About how football connects us all together. You learn about each other. And we go on football. It's not about what's going on. It's about us winning the game together, represent that name in front of the jersey, man. So I love the game of football so much, man.
Dude, I say this to everybody that comes through the door here. What if the rest of the world was run like a well-run college football team? What a great place it would be to live. You've got people coming from all different backgrounds, all different upbringings, right? And you can bring those guys together and get them all on the same page and compete for a championship. Like the number of different factors we deal with on a daily basis. I mean, you're putting 110, 120 guys together in a room, and you can get them to work together towards achieving a goal, man. And I love the fact that you can get a diverse team, kids from everywhere, and get them to work for something and get them to have fun doing it. That's the bottom line. Let's compete our butts off, but let's have a great time. And it becomes a brotherhood. And those bonds, your college teammates, right? I mean, you're boys for life.
Yes.
I mean, you can pick up the phone right now. You have the blood, sweat, and tears invested. Those guys will be there for you today, right? Just like that. And there's not a lot of things in the world that have that many people that could do that. Basketball, you got 12 to 15 guys, right? Shoot, D1 basketball's got more coaches now than they got players. So
yes,
I mean, it's crazy. So, every player's got their own personal guy watching them, I feel like. But you watch those coaches. I watched the first four here, and the players run in, and there's just that many support staff walking.
Yes, crazy, right? And I'm like, you all are in lower D1. How are you affording this? This was going through my head. I'm like, I know in my school they can't afford it in my school. I know that for sure.
Yeah, like, they got everybody wants to be a coach now. Everybody wants to coach until the day after the game. They don't.
Except me. I knew early, coach. I knew early. It's not for me because look here. I'm too competitive. I will. You see, you all have more that patience than I do. If I show you how to run a play a few times, I'm like, you should know it by that because I'm wired where you show me something 1, 2 times, I got it.
Yeah.
But players aren't wired that some of them need more reps than that. And I know I couldn't be a coach. I don't get impatient too fast.
Yeah. Everybody learns differently, right? And you're dealing with kids that have learning disabilities or they learn differently. You've got to find as a good football coach, well, especially the position coaches, right? They got to find out what each player, what makes them go and help them reach their potential. Because it's going to be different. You're going to have guys like you that got it, right? You're going to have guys we call rep guys that need more reps. You're going to have guys that need to experience it, then watch themselves do it on film. And then you show a clip of maybe that same play that someone in the NFL did or something like that. And then they got it, right? So when the light goes on, it goes on. And that's probably one of your favorite moments as a coach when, okay, this guy was struggling to get it, but when they get it and then they get the confidence and you can see them start to get close to the athlete you were recruiting to, you help them reach that potential. That's the most rewarding part of the whole thing. And it sucks to go through it with some of those guys because they get frustrated because, Johnny's getting it. We came in the same year. Johnny's getting it. He's got it. Well, all of a sudden the light goes on and then he passes Johnny, and that's rewarding.
No doubt. And man, I got one for you, Coach Andrews. This man in Dayton, I've been there a few times to see Anthony Grant and them play a few times.
Yeah, sure.
where's a good spot to eat in the day when we come to Dayton and see you all play? What's a good spot for us to eat here? I bring my staff with me, Rico and the guys in the back with me. Where should we go eat at in Dayton, man?
What do you want?
We like barbecue and ribs and chicken, bro. We love all that, man.
Now, let me tell you something. You don't go from the south to the north to get barbecue.
We love it, though. We love it. That's our food
choice. I don't have
Barbecue.
the barbecue spot for you yet, which is strange because the guys that know me in Virginia, the high school coaches know me. They know that I had a book that I took with me recruiting. I had the barbecue spots mapped with the high school. So because I love to go try the different ones, so, Troy Taylor always teases me this day every time I talk to him. He's down at LC Bird there in south of Richmond. And every time I talk to him, he's always talking about daggone, all right, what barbecue spot you going to today, coach? So, no, right by campus now, the Pine Club is the famous steak place,
Okay.
but you get cash only. All right. Old school, remind you going, Sinatra era steakhouse, right? And then right next door to that, you got Milano's where I'll have my coaches show, I think this fall, which is a really good UD campus, but good food, good wings, good pizza. If you want wings now, you got my spot right now is Sliders.
Okay, Sliders.
That's my wing spot.
Rico,
was
put it
there,
down,
was there
Rico,
last night
Rico,
watching
write
baseball?
down, Rico. My producer Rico, write that down back there. Sliders, because when we go travel, we like to go travel, see everybody we have on show play. Love doing that. Show you all support. We love to come. You see
Absolutely.
us in person on the field supporting you. That's what we do here in the Bossman show. So we love to eat when we get there. We love to have some good food and take pictures of it for our listeners to see. Hey, we with the Dayton, that's what we had to Dayton today. So we do love doing that for our listeners and our fans out there.
Awesome. Yeah, they'll know. They'll check them out. They got good burgers there too. So
no doubt. Well, Coach Andrew, it's been fun to have you on the show, man. It's going to chat with you, man. A ball coach, talking ball, which is really good. I love ball still this day, man. So thank God for radio. Let me still stay near ball, man, because without it, I don't know what I'd be doing, man. I've not had a real job yet. I'm only doing radio. So I'm loving life.
Good for you, man. Enjoy that life. Have fun with it. I'm sorry you have to cheer on you go watch your Hawks tonight, but you're having a better year. You're having a better year than my Pacers. I can promise you that.
Well, I'll see the Pacers on Saturday in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
They better bring the A game now.
If Tyrese plays, we're in trouble. If Tyrese plays, we're in trouble.
Well,
so if he plays, hey, we're a 500 team. So you never know with us.
Now you do every you go around? Will you follow the Braves and the Falcons, everything?
The Braves is my off season. I do the Falcons and the Hawks.
Yeah, right on.
Because I have to have off me in summertime. I used to do all three, but I realized I had no time off. So whenever the Hawks end, I end. Now I come back training camp with the Falcons. So I give me a few months to myself.
Good deal. Well, enjoy it, man. It's fun to be, nothing better than college sports, pro sports. I mean, you get those teams. I'm like a Chicago White Sox junkie. So I follow them religiously and probably too much. But I love it.
It's funny though. I'm actually a White Sox fan as my backup team because WGN here in Atlanta. Grew up, had the Braves on TBS. I had WGN watching the Cubs and White Sox.
Yeah.
I chose the White Sox over the Cubs. So the White Sox actually because of WGN, my backup team.
You know what? You chose it because all the rappers were the White Sox ass, not because of WGN.
Well, no. I love the hat though. It matched everything I had.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
It matched everything I
got
had,
a little
man.
collection of them myself.
And then Ozzie Guillen, a former Brave, became the White Sox manager, so it's cool because I knew Ozzie Guillen personally.
Yeah. Oh, well, now let me tell you something. That's a trip for you right there now, because that man's got a mouthpiece on him like none other.
Yes.
Like I can imagine spending 20 minutes with that man and A, trying to figure out what he's saying, B, laughing hysterically. Like
every other word, you got to pick up certain words. You have to pick up a word here. Okay, I see where it's going, Ozzie. I got you.
Dude, when I was probably about 8 or 10 years old, I got Ozzie's rookie card autographed. Back then that you could go before they had the nets up, you get there early, get them signed. So all those guys I grew up watching, and I got to this day, I got my '86 Fleer Ozzie Guillen autograph card.
Yeah, those are the times, man. I'm happy the Braves won. It was bad because I feel like when I stopped covering the team wins, so I was winning championships. But for me, I live south of town, so going to new Braves fields, it's a haul for me.
Yeah,
because they moved those 13 miles in Atlanta makes a big difference.
I tell you, I went. My dad he was great when we'd go on vacations. We'd always stop somewhere. Well, I think we stopped at Fulton County Stadium to see the Braves play the Expos. I was a youngster now. Expos. Nobody knows what that is anymore listening here. But Pete Rose was playing for the Expos, and he wanted us to watch Pete Rose play football or play baseball because of Charlie Hustle. So we went, and you never knew what position Pete Rose was playing. He might, so he found out what he was playing, and we went and sat in left field, right? So he wanted us to be able to watch how hard he played the game. So that's my only Atlanta baseball story. I went to see Dale Murphy against Pete Rose.
Well, Chipper Jones made me start hitting left-handed. Because I saw him do it. I taught him how to hit left-handed because Chipper Jones. I loved it. Now, I never understood this about the Braves, why Great Maddox had his own personal catcher, Eddie Perez. I never understood that about Great Maddox, but he always had his own personal catcher. Like, when he didn't have any Lopez in there. Javi Lopez should be our Eddie Perez, but
yeah, like, hey, you got Javi in there, you might get a couple more run support,
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that was my childhood, man. I was, why is this going on? Why is Great Max doing this to us? We should have in Lopez. We should not have in Eddie Perez. But it's funny getting older, I got to cover the team, meeting those guys who I grew up cheering for, like the Hawks. Dominique Wilkins was my hero. Now I work with the guy.
Yeah. Mark Bowman for the Braves guy. He's a Dayton guy.
Okay.
Went to school with him here. Yeah.
I'm gonna say, hey, I'll say, hey, this is an interview, brother. It's somebody who knows you. That is so much fun. But Coach, it was good talking to you, man. Do this again real soon. Hope to see you real soon, man, for sure.
Absolutely, anytime. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.